This is an educational video about feeding seeding grass to birds. Seeding grass is a natural foraging food for many of these species. For budgies, lovebirds, rosellas and cockatiels. This quite often makes up a large proportion of their diet in the wild and is a very important way to get a nice enriching lifestyle for them. You just see how much they enjoy stripping the seeds, which will be of high nutritional value at this stage of development. They're nice and ripe and green, unlike what you find in seed mixes. This is a wonderful way for them to exercise their muscles by stretching up, by chewing and stripping the seeds, and also a way to keep them entertained for long periods of time. Many of these birds have reached well into adulthood without ever foraging, yet they are all able to learn how to do it eventually with much patience and practice. This beautiful bird here is a rosella called Jose, and he was kept for many years in a small cage, and he was fed human junk food like peanut butter on toast and similar things. He didn't recognise any fresh food, and he certainly wouldn't try to eat it. Whereas now, as you can see, he is probably one of the most keen residents we have when provided with seeding grass. This lovebird is Sunday. He's very elderly, as you can see, and when I first rescued him, he was fed only seed sticks. And if you are knowledgeable about caring for birds, you know they shouldn't have them at all, let alone as what they're meant for, treats. But he was fed only seed sticks and had many hanging in his cage. He enjoys it too. That was Alan, he's gone, a baby who we hand-reared because he was rejected by his mother, so he's been having that kind of food right from the start. This is Patrick, who was a breeding bird for many years and fed an awful diet, has no stimulation, no attention. He's an incredibly happy boy and really loves to forage. And Jose, as you can see, doesn't want to share with anybody. He wouldn't eat anything other than seed mix and was constantly begging for human food when he arrived. You can see how they work their feet, their beaks, just to be able to strip the seeds. It's a beautiful sight. The white budgie there is Emmy, and she was a pet for many years, so she's very old now. And she never had anything like that, really. She was fed krill, millet, that kind of thing. And now is mad for seeding grass, even though she's now looks incredibly weak, although she's still strong enough to live happily and fly around in an aviary. She's quite scruffy, but incredibly happy, so at the moment we're happy to just let her be. If you watch how they have to move in order to pick up the seeds, you can just see the physical exercise as well as the mental exercise. This is Licorice, and she was incredibly neglected and was only a baby. We haven't had her very long at all, and she was only a baby when we rescued her. Had she continued to have that kind of lifestyle, she would have ended up having things like fatty liver disease, sour crop stasis, fatty tumours, that kind of thing. These are things that we see all of the time in pet birds, and they are mainly dietary related problems. Enrichment is an incredibly vital part of a bird's life. Many of these birds lived in incredibly unstimulating environments where their health was not looked after correctly. With rehabilitation, they are able to achieve this, and no matter how much you love your bird, if they are not having enriching things like this, then they're not being looked after in the correct way. Love alone is not enough. As you can see, many of these birds have the remainders of feather-destructive behaviours, sores on their feet, another remainder of plucking behaviour. These issues are nothing to do with being here. These issues are remainders of cage lifestyle with little stimulation. Poor diets of seed mix, millet, seed sticks, that kind of thing. Human food. Birds are highly intelligent, highly active animals, and if your bird is not able to exercise their mind and their body, if they're not able to get a wide variety of nutrients, seed diets lack at least 37 essential nutrients, and that's even with supplementation, because supplements can't effectively replace what they're missing. Diets high in fat from the seeds lead to fatty liver disease, gout, diabetes, obesity, all kinds of other problems. These issues are on the rise in aviculture, sadly, at the moment. Lots of people say birds should just be set free. However, pet birds cannot survive in the wild effectively. Birds can be very happy pets, live incredibly happy lives in captivity, completely carefree as these guys do, with views of beautiful scenery, but they have to be given a correct lifestyle. They can be happy pets, fulfilled, loved, joyful, but they must be given the opportunity to forage, to fly, to interact with their own kind, to have proper nutrition. This beautiful budgie here is Shell. We rescued her when she was just a few days old in the nest box with her incredibly deficient parents. She had been exposed to second-hand cigarette smoke. Her parents were sick from years of malnutrition and toxin exposure. Luckily, Shell survived. Sadly, her mother didn't. We worked very hard to introduce foods to them, like flaxseed, to introduce essential fatty acids for brain development, and lots of other high nutrient dense food. We don't know what the long-term effects of the toxin exposure will be, but we know at least for now that she's safe. These birds are beautiful and wonderful. They just mean absolutely everything to me, and it's a delight to see them behave in this way. There's nothing like seeing them use their natural instincts that are often suppressed in captivity. I'd like you to look at these guys, and if you own one of these species, I would like you to really think about the activity levels you see in that bird. And I'm suspecting that it's not activity levels as high as this. And bearing in mind that many of these birds have health conditions, diseases, disabilities, and psychological problems left over from previous bad lifestyles. Hopefully that will really make you think just what you're able to do to improve the lives of your birds. These birds are not screaming or running up and down for attention. They're engaging in natural foraging behaviour, natural same-species communication, along with the occasional unharmful squabble, just like you would see in a natural wild flock. This is very different from a bird being attacked or bullied. As you can see, no harm is being done. They're happy, free, peaceful. Hopefully now you can see just how important it is. Introducing feeding grass is much easier than you think. It may take a bird quite a while to get used to these things in their new environment, but once you do it, once they get used to it, the joy that both you and the bird share are incredible. When he was kept in an aviary with his toes rotting away with ammonia, he never thought he'd be enjoying natural feeding grass like this. When he was in a tiny cage, frustrated and arguing with his owner, eating peanut butter on toast and feeling incredibly sad, plucking all of his chest, he didn't think he would ever be enjoying life like this. Birds born with disabilities, in this case one eye, they don't need to be destroyed, they just need to be given a chance at life, a chance to be happy. Birds who would otherwise have no hope and go on to lead sadly meaningless lives. Give them a chance. No bird is too far gone. No bird is too old to forage. No bird is too tame to be engaging in their natural instincts. Look at that, she's such a baby. She's only just come out of the nest box very recently at a local breeder. And yet she is still so peaceful, happy and enjoying her life because that breeder gave her the chance to live. This beautiful budgie would have been sold on her own in a pet shop as a baby. She got to come here with all of her friends. She's now living a natural life,